Marshmallows, baby. Yeah. Miracle, 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 we keep having all these problems. How we gonna solve them? Every day it's the same thing. Yeah. All these unsolved issues, I guess it's official. Here we go again, the same old thing. And I'm tired of the arguing and lying. So goodbye, all the hurt and crying. Things will change in you, so how can I expect something new? It's the same old thing.
Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. It is June the 25th, 2025, and today the topic is fruit versus marshmallows. Happy Wednesday. Yeah, happy Wednesday, everybody. I hope you guys had a wonderful Tuesday. Mine was just fine. Yes, mine was good. Overall, man, look, day 3. All right. It was so funny because yesterday, I know Elizabeth was like, does this mean the juice is back on? And I'm like, I don't know. Then my mom called. She's like, I saw you did the juice. I'm like, yeah, mama, okay. I don't know. Look, as the Lord leads. And then this morning, as I'm writing, here go my husband advocating for y'all, talking about some, hey, they getting a new juice today. I said, oh. I said, I'm working on it right now. So, I mean, I know y'all probably got nervous because it's around 7 o'clock. And it wasn't 5 or whatever times I was recording before. And like I said, I used to be very adamant about being out before 6, but you know, I guess I started getting loose. But it wasn't just me though, y'all. I would do it as I receive it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still on my flexible timing. So most likely it'll still be in the morning times, but we'll see. We'll see, because we know that the Lord has done whatever he wanted to do with the juice with me. So anywho, I'm back. I'm back for day 3. And yeah, man. I think I got a little something for y'all this morning. You know, son, a little something. Maybe sweet, maybe not, depending on where you are spiritually. I want to share with you guys about my day, but I can do that in the after show so we don't waste time. Right? Cause some people just came for the juice. They were like, we didn't come for your backstory miracle. Okay. Or y'all can let me know in the comments if y'all like it when I say what happened the day before and stuff before I get into the nitty gritty. But I'm going to save that for the after show. Let's go ahead and talk about this conversation of fruit versus marshmallows. Now, the interesting thing is, what time did I wake up this morning? I woke up, I think around 3:28, something like that. And I was trying to remember the dream that I had. So I was trying to like make notes of that, and as well as put it to the side so I don't forget to look up Bible verses related to the time I wake up. You know, I always do that. But then I kept going back to sleep. So the next alarm that I heard was like the 5 o'clock alarm, which is very interesting because I usually have my, my 4 o'clock alarm is the one that goes off every day. And then these other alarms have just been set for random times if I had to get up for something else or whatever. So I didn't even know I had a 5 o'clock alarm, but that's the one I woke up to this morning after that initial 3 something. And then I took the time to listen to the prayer meditation, or at least I tried to. I put it on, and then I went back to sleep. So then, so when I woke back up again at whatever time, I can't remember what time that was, but then I put it on again to listen to it again. I still don't know how much listening I actually did to it, y'all, to be honest. Like, I don't really remember what it was about at all. But I think by the time I woke up the 3rd or 4th time, that's when this title, Fruit versus Marshmallows, came into my heart and mind. I'm like, okay, Lord, fruit versus marshmallows. so I'm like, okay, I think this is the juice. Let me make a note. You know what I mean? So I started looking into this, and I got more information about marshmallows than anything. So I found that to be very, very interesting. But hopefully you guys are tracking with me. You know what I'm saying? Y'all go on this journey with me and help. And I hope that it helps to get a understanding about, I guess, what I received today. And hopefully it will encourage you and inspire you. Look. There go y'all's advocate now coming in the door. Hey, husband. I told the people how you've been advocating for them
Yeah.
and the juice.
3 times in a row. People are blessed.
Oh, why? Let me. Thank you so much. You out of here?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I got to put my socks on.
Oh, okay. You ain't gonna come back in?
Hmm.
Y'all want to see the cheesy kiss? Really? Air kisses today?
The people want to see you.
Look, y'all miss seeing him, right? You know, he only been on the channel one time. Slowly closes the door. Get out of here. That's my husband, y'all. Shout out to him, you know what I'm saying? Look, without him, you know, would I have a roof over my head to be able to do this? Probably not. But anyway, look, everybody plays their part, you know what I mean? Love you, baby. I guess he's gone. All right, so friends, let's go ahead and get into this conversation, y'all. Fruit versus marshmallows, okay? I went and looked up the definition of marshmallows, y'all. Yep, I did. This is what the definition says. It says a soft, chewy confection made of sugar and gelatin. I was like, okay, you know what I'm saying? I just write the definition down. Now, here's the interesting thing. I saw a second definition. This is what it said. A tall, pink flowered European plant that grows in the brackish marshes. And then it says the roots were formerly used to make marshmallow, and it is sometimes cultivated for medicinal use. So I'm over here like, okay. Now I know I've heard of marshmallow root before. What did I? Something back in the day. Oh, there was this brand of shampoo. It was like a natural shampoo that was made of fruit, and I remember them saying that they had this marshmallow shampoo or something like that, and I wanted to try it back in the day, but I never did. And I know they were saying something about that particular brand. They were like, you have to keep it refrigerated or something like that, like, because it was fruit, you know, real fruit that it was made of and stuff. But I never tried it. I never did try it. I don't even know if they are still in operation. But regardless of that, right? So I was reminded of the marshmallow root. And I was like, oh yeah, that is, you know, made of marshmallow. I was like, so there's a story to this whole marshmallow thing. Because, you know, why did they stop making it from the root and the flower? You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So I went deeper about that. We'll talk about that in a second. But before I get into that, friends, I saw the slang definition for marshmallow. All right, y'all ready? This is what the slang definition for marshmallow says. Straight up, the first thing it says is coward. Ooh, that might be Pope already. Like, all right, I don't know. Has anyone ever called you a marshmallow? Then that's what they mean. I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm not kidding about the slang. I'm kidding about people calling you that. But anywho, then it said a person not strong or confident. I was like, ooh, that's a lot to think about when it comes to this marshmallow thing, Lord. You know what I'm saying? Like, first of all, we talking about the marshmallow itself, how it was made, and how it's no longer, you know, well, I guess some people still use it for medicinal uses and stuff like that, but the actual marshmallow that we know, you know, isn't necessarily has any benefits at all, you know. And I can't, you know, lie. One of the things, as soon as I was writing down, I think once I received the title and was writing down the definition, I was reminded of yesterday, the dream that I had. Because I told y'all about the chicken nugget part, but I didn't tell y'all about the slushy part. There was some part in the dream that, you know, people were getting slushies and whatnot. And when I was thinking about that yesterday, it kind of made me think about, again, substance versus just something that's not much substance. You know what I mean? Because what is a slushy? Like ice, food coloring, sugar, you know what I mean? Like juice, you know what I mean? So it's not really, doesn't have much depth to it, right? And so same like marshmallows, I had already put it in that category, but the Lord, like I said, went deeper about this marshmallow thing, y'all. So, I mean, being a coward, not being strong, not being confident, that's a lot already as well. But when I looked more into the story behind the marshmallow, friends, I mean, I ain't gonna tell y'all every little detail. Y'all could probably go Google it for yourself. But the parts that was kind of standing out to me is that that yes, they first started making marshmallow with the roots, But then at some point, I guess to start mass producing it and things like that, they started to use like the gelatin. I think even something else that I don't know if I wrote it down. But whatever, they were doing it to be able to mass produce the marshmallow. And here's what I received when thinking about that process, friends. It went from a natural fruit of creation, which we talked about that yesterday, right? We talked about the things that God say is good, the things he created, right? Natural things, right? It went from that, right? And which came with medicinal uses and properties and stuff like that. I didn't write down any of the things that it could do, but it did a few things. And then, so it went from this natural thing to being a fluff with no root. Did y'all hear that? A fluff with no root. Now, I think that was very, very interesting because, obviously the Bible talks a lot about fruit and use this gardening reference. I mean, your girl used it as well in my book. Look, the cultivation period, a single Christian's journey, right? There is something to this whole gardening thing, right? And then obviously there's something to be, connected to the root, right? And to bear fruit. I didn't go deeper when it comes to like definitions about fruit and stuff like that, because I feel like there's plenty, right, that you guys can peruse and let marinate on your own heart, souls, and minds about that, especially in the Bible. But let's get into what I did feel led to look into. So here are some verses that were standing out to me. Now, before I get into them, friends, I noticed that all of them, I believe, are from John 15. So it might behoove us to take a look at John 15 in its entirety. I didn't put that in the Go Deeper section, but you could do that, on your own. What I put in the Go Deeper section was another one of those openbible.info searches. And I just pretty much put the title of what came to me, which was the fruit versus marshmallows. I put that into openbible.info, and I got majority of these verses. I got a few of these verses, but I felt like I wanted to go deeper, and so I did it again with only the word fruit, and that's why I got these verses that I feel led to share right now. But I also felt led to tell you guys to just go back and put in that original phrase so y'all can see verses and see what the Lord wants to share with you about this particular topic, right? But here are the verses that I felt led to share this morning. So we're going to take a look at John 15:5 first, okay? It says, I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me and I in him, he it is that bears much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. Now, friends, at the end of the day, look, this is not a quote from Miracle Sims, okay? Now, I'm not the root and the fruit and the vine, you know what I mean? Like, this is the Lord Jesus Christ talking to us, okay? He's letting us know that apart from him, we can do nothing. Again, apart from the root, right? The marshmallow ain't nothing but fluff, gelatin, some sugar, you know what I'm saying? And again, we're going to go deeper about that. But if we just stay on the fruit side for a moment, there's this really big thing, again, in the Bible about bearing fruit, y'all. I told y'all I was watching Chosen the other day, and it had that moment where, Jesus cursed the fig tree and things like that. And then they kind of went deeper about that later on. And I'm not sorry if it's spoilers or whatever, but I guess the Bible is a big spoiler because, it's already been spoiled. There was this part where Jesus cursed the fig tree. But anyway, they went deeper about that, and in the scenes or whatever, the Jesus character, right, was pretty much, reminding the people that, if you don't bear fruit, basically the Lord has no use for you. And there's a lot of things that the Bible says about that in regards to, being burned in the fire and all these different type of things. And I don't know about y'all, but I can't help but think about HE double hockey sticks when they talking about burning fire. You know what I'm saying? But that's a whole nother, conversation. But yeah, there is something to bearing fruit. We must be bearing fruit. And then in the midst of that, obviously, again, there's different seasons. If you bear fruit, then look, the Lord's going to prune you to do what? Bear more fruit. Things like that. So it's very, very important. And again, but you can't bear fruit without being connected to the root. And we said that is what? Our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. So let's keep going. Here's another verse that's in John 15. It's John 15:8. It says, by this my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit, and so prove to be my disciples. So again, in order to be Christ's disciple, we got to be out here bearing fruit. Now, it might look different. Like for me, I guess it looks like getting up and doing the juice and, creating stuff at GSL and, doing the stuff that the Lord lead me to do here and at the church and whatever else. Being a, wife, mom, like that's my fruits and whatnot that the Lord got me doing right now. Now, I don't know what that looks like for you, but whatever it is, Lord, I pray that you guys are encouraged and inspired to get it going. You know what I'm saying? Start bearing some fruit. And don't get, discouraged, right? Just because somebody else's garden and orchard or whatever looks a little different, maybe a little bigger or smaller or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't be we got to stop playing the comparison game. And I know that can be hard to do, especially in this social media world where everybody can see what everybody's doing, or everybody can see what everybody's posting and stuff like that, what they post to be doing. But yeah, I mean, let's not be discouraged about looking at anybody else's garden, right? Let's get with the Lord and see what it is that he wants us to do. Because guess what? Whatever that is, friends, is very important, right? For you and your circle of influence. So I hope that encourages you guys. Let me give you guys another verse. It's John 15:2. It says, every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away. All right, we talked about that a second ago. But it continues here to say, and every branch that does bear fruit, let's see, he prunes that it may bear more fruit. So again, there was this moment, I think it was last year, that I really, really felt as if I was being pruned. And I was like, it don't feel good. I'm losing friends, you know what I'm saying, quote unquote, or associates, I guess. That's what they turned out to be, I guess. I'm looking around and there's, things are, there's all these different things that can make the pruning process difficult, right? But at the same time, it's such a blessing, right, to be pruned, to bear more fruit. Actually, that's a good sign, right? If you're getting pruned, then, you are preparing to bear more fruit. And so I hope, again, that this can be encouraging and inspiring to know that, like, again, you could be going through rough seasons and times, and you're like, well, Lord, why this and why that? Like, why did I have to be pruned? Why did I have to lose this friend? Why did this have to go this way? Whatever the case may be. But when you come out on the other side, you'll see fruit, right? You'll see the blessings. You'll see that some things you couldn't access until those people left your life. You know what I'm saying? We can go on and on and on about examples here, but basically, just reminding people about the process, right? Either be connected to the fruit, the vine, the root, right? And to, and bear fruit and get pruned so you can bear more fruit. Or the other option is to just be thrown away, right? To not bear no fruit at all and don't have any purpose and serve any purpose. And I mean, I don't know which sounds best to you, right? But I'm okay with the, I'm going to bear fruit, get pruned, bear some more fruit. This side of life has been the blessed side for me. You know what I mean? Like back in the day, again, I tell y'all all the time, but when I was sitting there feeling like something's missing, something ain't right, all these different things like that, I don't want to go back to those days. Like, I mean, I pushed through, and shout out to old Miracle, you know what I'm saying, for making the choices that she did at those particular times to get me to where I am today, right? But, those times could be, even though I was able to push through, for someone else, those could be those detrimental times. Those could be those times that we call like rock bottom, right? Those could be those times where people take their life because they're depressed. And, all these things can happen in those seasons where we are out of order, like when we're not connected to the vine, where we are not bearing fruit and stuff like that. And so if that's where you are today, friends, I hope, again, that anything that I've shared and said already can, help, with that and help you, again, to connect to the vine. I mean, the best way to connect is to get in the word for yourself. Yes, it's good. Look, come listen to the juice. You know what I'm saying? Go to church and listen to what the pastor got to say. All of that is great, right? But you got to be getting into the word for yourself at the end of the day. Like, you got to be reading it for yourself. You have to be studying it for yourself. Yeah, because at the end of the day, nobody else can stand up for you, right? But you. So that's juice all by itself, friends. But let me give you guys, I guess, just a few final little things to think about. So here's some things about. Let me see. Did I tell y'all this? Oh, okay. So here's some more little notes I was making about marshmallows, friends. I don't think I got a chance to tell you guys these. So y'all ready? Here we go. Marshmallows, they pretty much represents a form without foundation. Ooh. I hope I ain't talking to no marshmallows today, because this is crazy. There's a lot to be said about this particular thing, but yeah, a form without foundation. Another thing it represents is sweetness without substance. Okay, we talked about that when it came to the slushes and whatnot. Sweetness without substance. Something else, something that melts. Ooh, I couldn't help but think about when you put the marshmallow in the fire, for instance, it's gonna melt. You know what I'm saying? And now, don't get me wrong, I enjoy the good old, s'more every now and then, stuff like that. But do you want to last through the fire, right? Or do you want to melt and turn to mush and stuff like that when the fire comes? Because again, we know that as believers, there's going to be ups and downs in life. And we're going to be going through the fiery furnaces or whatever the case may be. And so we don't want to melt, right? We want to stay strong. We want to have a firm foundation. We want to be connected to the vine so we can bear fruit, right? And be pruned so we can bear more fruit, right? Here's a few more things to think about when it comes to this, friends. Some teachings, lifestyles, or choices look appealing but don't sustain you spiritually. I know this might be pulp, y'all. Y'all might not want to hear this, man, but it's the truth, man. Some of the things that look good, some of the things that's fluffed up real nice and stuff like that, it don't sustain us at the end of the day. Like, I think those that have been through some stuff in their life, they eventually see that, right? And then say, you know what, Lord, what is it that you want of me? What is it? And you start focusing on the will of God, right? Because you'll start to see, like, at some point your eyes open to the reality that, you know what? Well, here was something that stood out to me all those years ago. I felt like the Lord was sharing with me that, hey, the only thing that was going to last was what I did for him. And so at that point, I started to seek him about what he wanted me to do, because, I wanted to do something that was going to last at the end of the day. So here I am today. I feel like walking in purpose, walking in the Lord's will, and doing the things that he has led me to do. And I feel very fulfilled by doing that. Like, so much fulfilled, because that I'm so content that I'm like, I stay right here and just keep doing this. Even though I know that there's other things down the line and stuff like that. And I don't know exactly what and all that. But what I'm saying is that obviously I know that the Lord has his plans that go way beyond, me and my little ideas. But regardless of that, again, I'm at peace with that. And again, I say this over and over, friends, because I hope y'all, I'm really trying to help y'all understand something about me, like how I used to be. Like, I used to really get discouraged. You know what I'm saying? I used to really, like, if I wasn't getting views or if I wasn't getting feedback or, all those type of things would discourage me back in the day. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, so God did a whole new thing when it came to GSL, because once I stepped out on faith and started doing this, I was like, okay, well, the one thing that has to change is my mindset about it, right? I got to just do it regardless. I don't care if it's one view. I don't care if it's, nobody ever says anything. If the Lord got me to come over here this morning and do this, I'm going to have to just do it and be obedient regardless of the feedback. And by the grace of God, these days, every now and then, I get some words of affirmation. Shout out to those of you guys that have been commenting and, sharing how you feel about the juice. I mean, I even had someone yesterday to say that they enjoyed both juices over the past couple of days. So that means something to me. I greatly appreciate it. And, so this is day 3. I hope you are receiving and feel the same way with what, again, the Lord is saying with me, for me, and through me today. But regardless, right, I just really used to be in this place where I guess I could be easily influenced from, I guess, other people, their opinions, and all these different type of things. And I'm still working on all that, y'all. For, at the end of the day, I'm still human out here. I'm not perfect by any means. But what I'm saying is that to be in this place of contentment, right, to be in this place of peace, to be in this place where I still have love, joy, and all the things, and I'm literally telling you, all I'm doing is just being like, Lord, what you want me to do? And then doing it. And it's been life-changing, friends. And so, I'm no, I'm not the only one experiencing this. You know, at the end of the day, the biblical figures, they experienced it in their own ways, and there's plenty of believers that are out here experiencing it now as well. And I'm not saying just do it because everybody else is doing it. I'm just saying give it a try for you in your life. Because at the end of the day, again, God's no respecter of persons. What He do for me, He can do for you. And so, yeah, I said a lot right there. I hope that helps you. Let me give you guys another thing. I think I had another little note about this. Here's a question. All right, here's a question you guys can go deeper with on your own. Are we rooted like fruit or whipped up like fluff? Ask yourself that today, friends, all right? I mean, I think you guys have received the juice from little old me today. I mean, y'all, like I said, y'all can go to deeper. Go to openbible.info, plug in that phrase, fruit versus marshmallows, and see what else the Lord wants to share with you guys about this. But yeah, everything I said is ultimately the juice. I hope you guys are encouraged and inspired to be more like fruit than marshmallows. And that's it, man. That's the juice. Now, the Bible verse of today is Matthew 5:5. It says, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all whenever the Lord brings me back, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye.